Hi, welcome. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Hi, Jennifer. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing? Oh, I'm glad you're happy. Shout out to Jennifer. Leave your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to, is it Dooney? I'm glad, Jennifer. Yes, shout out to Tokido. Thank you for showing me how to pronounce it, how to pronounce your name. Leave your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Roxana. Shout out to Ariel or Ariel. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Amora. Shout out to Stella. Hello, welcome. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Romo. Also leave a like if you enjoy my shout outs. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to, is it Kanan? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Alondra. Shout out to Godwin. Shout out to Arlova. Shout out to Cyrus. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Press. Thank you, Anne. Shout out to Anne. Shout out to Eve. Shout out to Joan. Shout out to Avery. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying my shout outs. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well and support that. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Blanca. Shout out to Sydney. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Tai Young. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Abrielle. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Bryn. Shout out to Romana. Shout out to Dane. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Malenka. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Jazz Marie. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Herrera. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Jennifer. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Anne. Shout out to Roseanne. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Abigail. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Sylvia. Oh no, did I spell that wrong? I feel like I did. Shout out to Raisha. Shout out to Alejandro. Shout out to Navy or Navi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Presley. Oh no, I keep writing names wrong. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Presley. I think Sylvia was without the I. Sylvia. There we go. Shout out to Lua. Shout out to Ayana. Shout out to Candice. Shout out to Lupe. Happy birthday. Shaffer. Shout out to Giovanna. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Zaylee. Shout out to Lisette. Shout out to Zaylee. Oh, Zaylee, I got you. Lisette. Shout out to Candice. Shout out to Finn. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to, thank you, Giovanna. Shout out to Annie. Oh, I just put Annie. Shout out to Finn. I have you right here. And Chloe. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Amira. Shout out to King Vaughn. Shout out to Hope. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Lily. I put King Vaughn right here. Shout out to Lily with 2 L's. Shout out to Cha Un Yan. Shout out to Dart. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Zolia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Jules. Did I spell it right? Oh no, I spelled it wrong. I'm so sorry. Shout out to Jeriah. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nova. Shout out to Nez. Shout out to Lone. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Jared. Let's try to get to 30 likes. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Leon. Shout out to Hassan. Shout out to Selena. Shout out to Lamia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kira or Kiera. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lamia, I got you. Shout out to Zephaniah. Shout out to Uma. Shout out to Brooke. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Lee Sung. Shout out to Eliana. Shout out to Viv. Shout out to Sarah. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the shout outs. On to the next page. Shout out to Aiden. Shout out to Sudden. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Mariama. Shout out to Hearts. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Pippi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kat. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Braylon. Shout out to Coraline. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Eden. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Cyrus. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Chrissy. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Lamia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Lala. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Raheel. Shout out to Nadia. Thank you for 30 likes. Shout out to Kieran. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to JJ. Shout out to Nimrod. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Leonidas. Shout out to Samantha. Shout out to Waya. Shout out to Sandy. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Let's try to get to 40 likes. Shout out to Kayla. Shout out to Lun. Is it Lun? Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Eliza. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Coley. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Liv. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Jackie. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Mona. Shout out to Gemma. Shout out to Aphrodite. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Disha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Kenza. Shout out to Faith. Shout out to Laker. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Eve. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to, is it Sari? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Aman. Shout out to Sud. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Carl. Oh, Suede. Shout out to Suede. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Kari. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Yarelis. Shout out to Carlin. Shout out to Cassie. Shout out to Ryder. Shout out to Rain. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Oakley. Shout out to Jalela. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed my shout outs. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Maya. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Zeta. Shout out to Carrera. Shout out to Salish. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Brinley. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Stacy. Shout out to Kendra. Shout out to him. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Presley Faith. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Bridget. Shout out to Brooklyn. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out. Shout out to Alexander. Shout out to Merrick. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to, is it Kai? Shout out to Collins. Shout out to Beckham. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Myrna. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Rizwan. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Evangeline. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Ledger. Whoops, I spelled it wrong. There we go. Shout out to Kayleek. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Stella. Shout out to Andrew. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to Katie. Or Katie, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nimyu. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Shamim. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Nolan. Shout out to Adele. Shout out to Sant. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Azarius. Shout out to Fanta. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Elena. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Leah. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Maybe we can get to 50 likes. Shout out to Alina. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Ranveer. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Selena. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Miss Myers. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to... Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Ivia. Shout out to Heidi or Haiti. Shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Liv. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Miss K. Shout out to, is it Jade? Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Jisoo. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. We're almost at 50 likes. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Shinobu. Shout out to Melina. Shout out to Lana. Shout out to, so write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Zaylee. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Sorva. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Baby Hug Hug. Shout out to Carly. Thank you for 50 likes. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Ariana. Shout out to Caddy. Shout out to Isa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Milenka. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Shuyup. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Aurelie. Shout out to Liana. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Mason. Shout out to Ifra. Shout out to Anjali. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Efra, got you. Shout out to Benjamin. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Hema. Shout out to Efra. Shout out to Sienna. Shout out to Isa or Isa. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Brayden. Shout out to Jayani. Shout out to Bindu. Shout out to Mohanan. Give me a few seconds. I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Emerald. Shout out to Tasmeem. Shout out to Rahat. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Leave a like if you're enjoying the shout outs. We're almost at 60 likes. Shout out to Jose. Hello, welcome. Shout out to Sophia. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Kitsali. Shout out to Violet. Shout out to Vihan. Shout out to yes, I sleep. Shout out to Felix. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Yadleen. Shout out to Inder. Shout out to V and Dandy. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Dan Kyle. Shout out to Pilar. Shout out to Avery, I got you. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for 60 likes. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Leah. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. I also post other content. I hope you can also go and support my other content. Maybe leave a like. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to, thank you Jose for subscribing. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Cam. Shout out to Anuthmi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ayesa. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to Leticia. Shout out to Pinky. Shout out to Daniellen. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ami or Amy. Shout out to Keisha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Audrienne. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Ethan. Michaela, I got you. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to Sheska. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Lily Rose Emily. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Zamariah. Shout out to, yes, Jose, I can do that if you write your sister's name. Shout out to Quetzali. Shout out to Aralise. Shout out to Roxana. Oh no, I forgot the other N. Let me do that again. Shout out to Roxana. Shout out to Roselia. Bye, Jose. Thank you for dropping by. Shout out to Roselia. Zelia Biamiana. Shout out to Martin. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Lillian. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Shout out to Lillian. You're welcome. Shout out to Janina. Shout out to Zariah. Shout out to Janina. Shout out to Kenshin. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Dulce. Shout out to Janaya. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Colin. Shout out to Major. Thank you, Isabella. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Mason. Shout out to Bryn. Shout out to Autumn. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Mason. Isabella, I got you. Shout out to Bryn. Shout out to Colton. Shout out Ella, I got you. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Mirab. Shout out to Joseph. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Bye Missy Moo. Thank you for stopping by. Shout out to Colt. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Brinley. Shout out to Billy. Shout out to Zizi or Zai. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Jarrell. Billy, I got you. Johnny, I got you. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Brecken. Shout out to Dashell. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Brooke. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Leonidas. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Zenny. Shout out to Mateo. Shout out to Tongue. Shout out to Christopher. Shout out to Jimena. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Oliver. Shout out to Zuza. Shout out to Hayden. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. We're almost at 80 likes. Only 3 more likes. Shout out to Lolly. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Campbell. Shout out to what was it? Decibel? Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Kai. Shout out to Giselle. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Emmanuel. Shout out to Selvi. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Tesley. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Chance. Shout out to Keen. Shout out to Rumi. Shout out to John Sell. Shout out to Marco. Shout out to Camden. Shout out to Bailey. Shout out to Astrid. Shout out to Zorro. Shout out to Timmy. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Mateo. Shout out to these people. Like and subscribe if you enjoy my shout outs. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to write your name out. Please subscribe. I normally live stream every day, mostly once every day, or if not twice. So please subscribe if you want to know when I'm going live. Thank you so much for being here. Also check out my channel. I post other content. I hope you can support as well. Have a great night or have a great day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.